What's up, upstanders? Dr. O here, and I've been thinking a lot about what Nikita Khrushchev said. It was a Soviet Union leader in the 1950s, and said something to the effect, or at least it's a quote that's attributed to him, but something to the effect of, we'll take over the United States without firing a single shot. And people have had many different usages for that term, and many people have talked about this basically being, will destroy you from within. We don't have to have nuclear bombs or weapons facing at you. We can destroy you from within. And particularly, I mean, some could say going back to the Tea Party, but particularly since the rise of MAGA, we've had this destruction from within the United States that's actually happening as relates to the culture wars, the politics of dissension, turning Americans against one another. This is how we got Trump in both terms, to be quite honest. He knew that he could have addition by subtraction by keeping enough people separated, by keeping enough people divided that they would either choose to vote for him, vote for a third party, Jill Stein type person. By the way, where is Jill Stein nowadays? Sorry, I was looking. I couldn't find her. Or by not voting at all, right? And that's why when you saw with the election, this past election, he didn't get this mandate that everybody was talking about. This is not this, and just was not the case. But he profits off of that. He thrives off of that. As he said, when he runs his corporations, he likes to bring people in the boardroom and let them fight at each other and just basically see who wins. That's how he's running the country. But the other part of what Khrushchev said about not firing a single shot, it also has me thinking of what Trump's doing, because Trump is creating all of this chaos and trying to assert himself as a king, and he hasn't used the military or his January 6th pardoned insurrectionists yet. He hasn't used them in any way, shape, or form. He's talked about using the army and whoever to be on the streets and so on and so forth. These are all things that Trump feels that he has the power to do. And at some point, if he feels like people are backing him down too much, I have no doubt that he will actually attempt to use that as well. Some people talked about, well, if Jewish people would have been able to survive Nazi Germany, like if they had guns, but they didn't have the guns, and this whole type of thing, and that led to a conversation about Trump actually possibly looking at ways to take guns from Americans. People always say, I think that Democrats are going to take your guns, but it wouldn't surprise me if there was going to be some type of legislation, some type of action starting with maybe allowing mentally ill people to have guns, to not have guns, even though when he came in 2016, he reversed that policy, letting them have, saying they can't have guns, and then having his cronies determine several people to be mentally ill and take their guns. Americans got a lot of guns. And the fact of the matter is, Americans are not afraid to use them. And so I don't know if that's what gives Trump pause. I don't know, because many of the people that he's targeting right now are former military. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, do not put it above Trump to not use violence as an alternative or as a means to get his way in this country. I can completely see that happening, and I think Americans would be disillusioned to think or be deluding themselves to think that is something that cannot happen. There's a reason, and this is why, he's doing what Hitler did. I mean, this is a reason why, he let his people go from being charged with insurrection and let these 1,500 folks go. This is why he did that, because he needs armies. He needs people to enforce what he's doing legally or illegally. Don't be surprised when governors start to, if they haven't already, start to deputize certain people to go after quote unquote illegal immigrant criminal aliens, right? Don't be surprised when he starts using these people who already demonstrated their ability to be lawless, when he starts turning them on American people or his cronies. By cronies, I mean his state governors, city mayors, and so on, and sheriffs, and so on and so forth. We will take over the United States without firing a single shot. Well, so far, Donald Trump has been demonstrating his ability to take over the United States without firing a single shot. But this is a man who is violent to his core, who has talked about, why can't you shoot people in the leg? Why can't you do this? And so on and so forth. He's already talked about ways that he's going to pardon officers. You see that there's a movement right now to pardon the Minnesota police officer who killed George Floyd, Officer Chauvin, former Officer Chauvin, even though he can pardon him federally, he still has state charges he has to deal with. But there's a move to do that. there's a move to do that. I mean, look at Glenn Youngkin, who just pardoned an officer who killed a black man for shoplifting. Like literally within 24 hours of his conviction earlier this week. So I think Americans have to be very mindful of what this government is going to be capable of. Everything with Trump, we have to just say it's just the beginning, not yet. But it's coming. It's coming. And people should be very wary of what this man will do to keep power. There's already a Trump 2028 movement growing. He came in the first day talking about a third term. There are Republicans who will support that. We know that there are people on the Supreme Court who will endorse that. But if they don't, this government has a history of turning to violence when policy doesn't work, or turning to policy when violence doesn't work. But we shouldn't put any of that above Trump in any way, shape, or form. He's working to take over the United States without firing a single shot. But I have no doubt that he will attempt to use many shots to consolidate power in every way, shape, or form. And Americans should be on notice. Peace.